It doesn't matter who you are, every single person on this planet can find at least one thing to look forward to throughout the year. That can be something simple like a holiday, Christmas, Halloween. It can be you going to your grandma's house for dinner on a Sunday night, or it could be you waiting for your homeroom teacher to get fired. It really encompasses all things. And the time for gamers has come with the annual E3 press conference. And oh my god, was it a fucking disgrace. You know, if I could, I really would delve into every single company and the games that they released, but I can't because nobody really had anything super notable except for one company. So instead, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look at the worst and the best press conference throughout all of the several day E3 and talk about what I really liked about each of them, okay? Now, here, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine that there's a game company that pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. They started from the bottom and they rose up. They created a game series, a survival horror series that was very popular. They created some other very notable series which some people hold near and dear to their hearts, call it their favorite games. Imagine this company got popular enough to go to a very popular press conference for games. They were able to make the time in order to sell their games even more. Now, I want you to imagine this company doing this for years, and every single year, the dedicated fans to this company will think that they have an ace up their sleeve, that they're going to whip something out that nobody expected and really win the press conference. Imagine that. Huddling up in your living room with your closest friends, you close the blinds, you turn the TV on, you have nothing to pay attention to but the screen, but the press conference. You're talking to your friends saying what you think is going to come up because you know it's going to be that good, and you watch. You watch for several minutes. They say that they're releasing a Monster Hunter update schedule. They say that they're releasing Monster Hunter Leather Pants update. And they say that they're releasing an Ace Attorney game. All three of which are already out. They're more or less just updates regarding the games. Now imagine that after those three announcements, all three of which are already out, already exist within the world, imagine that after that they say, that's all we have to announce. Here's some Street Fighter esports. And that was exactly what fucking Capcom did at their press conference. I was super excited for this press conference. I woke up as early as I usually do, and I waited till 3 o'clock or whatever time it came on in order to watch it with my favorite streamer, Video Game Donkey. He has the best coverage of E3, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I clicked on his stream, and usually his streams when it comes to E3 are about maybe 3 hours long, maybe even 4 hours long if there's enough going on that day. Video Game Donkey started it. 30 minutes go by, they release the games, and he say, that's all I have to talk about today, guys. That's all they're showing. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And he cut the stream off 30 minutes in because there was that little to show. I went on several different streamers' platforms. I watched several different YouTube videos about it. Everybody was so disappointed. Not one soul was happy about what Capcom showed off, and for good reason, because it was absolutely terrible. Imagine Banksy said that they had a new piece lined up for tomorrow, and tomorrow, instead of seeing a very big wall mural, you see the Mona Lisa scotch taped to a cement wall. That's pretty much what Capcom was like. Everything was out already. All they did was release update schedules and show a cutscene from an Ace Attorney game. Like actual dog shit. I could not believe. I felt robbed. Not to get too dramatic, but I felt absolutely robbed of that day at E3. Even though it was only 30 minutes, it felt like several hours because of just how bad I reflected on it in my mind. And I understand that they just released Resident Evil 8, which was a banger, and something else that I forget. But, I guess that doesn't really detract from the fact that their press conference was just sort of that bad. And bad really isn't a high bar to live up to. The bar was pretty low for this E3. Microsoft announced 40 games and maybe 2 of them were notable. At least they announced more than 3 update schedules, That was nice. Now, after Capcom left the taste of dehydrated dog piss in all of the users' mouths, they had one thing to look forward to. The coup de grace, the piece de resistance, the one that everybody can rely on except when it comes to user interaction. Nintendo. When it comes to big press conferences, for the most part, for my recollection, Nintendo just completely dominates the competition, just slaps a dick down on the dinner table. And it was no different this time. But, you know, like I said a minute ago, the bar was pretty low. But even then, they did sort of go out of the water. They didn't have a John Cena in their Nintendo Direct, and that's all I could ask for. Like, Nintendo was so confident, Nintendo was so on their game this press conference that they released Metroid 5 before they even released Metroid 4. Like, you cannot fuck with that. You really cannot mess with any of that. But before I keep going and spitting nut out of my mouth talking about Nintendo's games at E3, I do need to mention that 10 minutes before the press conference started, Nintendo Japan tweeted, I'm not sure if this counted towards Americans, but that streamers could not co-stream their Nintendo Direct, their E3. And apparently that only applied to Japanese streamers, but still, like, what is the fucking point of that, Nintendo? They're so anti-consumer, it's ridiculous. But I just wanted to add that little thing to keep everybody from thinking that Nintendo was this benevolent, omnipotent being that was oh so perfect, because they're not. They're just terrible and a very bad company. They make good games though. But yeah, no, Nintendo just broke the paper wall with some absolute bangers. What, they had SMT5, they had Super Monkey Ball, WarioWare, Advance Wars, they had a Metroid. Like, they really had everything that the fans were asking for, except for Splatoon. If you're a Splatoon fan, please click out of the video. I don't want your viewership, even though I'm so small. I cannot respect the Splatoon franchise, but that's not what we're here for. The faintest glimmer of hope within E3 this year lied in one game, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. Nobody really cared about anything else, because if they could get this one game, everything would have been worth it. If they could get a general release date or even a taste of what ropes this company was shooting, it would all be okay. At the end of the Direct, they said, here's our last announcement, and then Aonuma came up, the god himself, better than Sakurai, arguably. What did he talk about? What did Aonuma have to say that would save E3? Well, he talked about Skyward Sword. Of course, baby. Who doesn't want Skyward Sword? And, you know, of course, that was their last announcement, so I was pretty bummed. You know, it sucks. E3 was sort of dog pissed this year, but what can you do about it? But then Aonuma starts speaking again, and I think it's going to be what I want to hear. I start standing up. I'm getting excited. And then he brings up a tiny device out of his pocket, and he shows everybody. And I ask myself, what the fuck is this? What is Aonuma showing to us right now? And it was a Game & Watch that had Zelda's 1, 2, and something else on it, and also had a mini Game & Watch game on it. And I was like, okay, you're just spitting in our face right now, really rubbing it in. And I thought, okay, this E3 really was bad, and I'm not going to apologize about it. But then Aonuma started talking one more time, and he said, after the final announcement was announced, he said, we have one final announcement. And he said, it is Breath of the Wild sequel. And then he brought up this trailer, if you can even call it a trailer. It was really a send from God. And oh my goodness, did it really get my cheeks clenching. Oh, Jesus Christ, it was so good. I just want to take like a minute or two to talk about how good this trailer was, because after I watched it, I literally scanned every single frame of this. I went through it frame by frame for several hours, and I tried to get as much information as possible. But regardless, Nintendo doesn't know how to make a good company, but they know how to make a damn good game and a damn good trailer, and they delivered right here. I'm not saying that they saved E3, but I'm saying that they brought it back above the threshold for acceptableness. I'm a longtime Zelda fan. I've been playing that since the N64 when I was really young, and I cannot explain the excitement I got when the trailer went black for a few seconds after they got out of the caves, and then they didn't even need a crescendo. They knew what the fans wanted. They exploded into just a loud, beautiful orchestra as Link is falling from the sky. It was just beautiful. It gave me goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And every time I've watched it at least 50 times today. Just a big shit-eating grin comes across my face because it's so satisfying. It's such a good trailer. Like, literally, Link has long hair now. He's got a prosthetic arm, beat his meat too hard, it fell off. Like, there's so much. And within 2.5 hours of that trailer being uploaded to Nintendo's YouTube channel, it got 1 million views. And within the next hour or two, it got 600,000 views. And if you look at anything else, nothing even compares. Like what Mario Party Superstars got 79,000 views within 3 hours. SMT5 got 32,000 views within 3 hours. Like, really, this goes to show that Nintendo was holding all of the power. They just had to show this one game and it would pump the Southern blood straight back into the flaccid cock that was E3 this year. And I'm so happy. Nintendo just had to show at least a second, 2 seconds. I'm going to be overzealous here. 3 seconds of Breath of the Wild. And I understand we didn't get any gameplay, but still, it was absolutely hype as hell. It was a great way to end E3. The announcements portion of it, at least. And yeah, no, that's all I have to talk about. Peace.